Scanning. Identity confirmed. Signal acquired. Initiating transmission. Stand by. Contacting Imperial High Council. Initiating Project Storytime.
Greetings, members of the Imperial High Council, and today we continue our look at Star Trek Enterprise. We open on Travis and Hoshi looking at pictures of the colony Terra. The Enterprise is en route to that colony that hasn't been heard from in 70 years. After the opening titles, DePaul says,
Terra Nova?
I'm surprised you've never heard of it.
Lucky bastard. Anyway, Terra Nova was a colony that got attacked by the Batarians until Commander Shepard came by and... Oh, wait, sorry, wrong Terra Nova, that was from something good. This colony was Earth's first deep space settlement, 20 light years away from Earth.
Took them, what, 9 years to get there?
9 years there, 9 years back. But they made it.
Huh? Did they come back? It's a 9-year voyage. That seems pretty one-way to me. After all, who's going to agree to ferry people to one place that takes you 18 years? Or was Archer just saying that it would take 9 years to get back? I don't understand his point here. Anyway, he then tells T'Pol that the colony and Earth's relations began to become strained when Earth wanted to set up another colony on the planet and Terra Nova said no. They didn't want another colony on the same planet. Okay, one, what are you gonna do, shoot them down? They could just land on the opposite side of the planet. Two, they wouldn't even begin to arrive for 9 years. 3, it's a planet. I'm pretty sure there's enough room for 200 more people. Archer continues and says that after lots of back and forth arguments, Terra Nova cut off all communications 70 years ago. Since it's a long trip, no one was willing to go check on them. I call BS on that. Some politician would have jumped at the chance to ensure Earth's first colony was successful. There's no way it would have been abandoned. When T'Pol says the Vulcans could have easily checked up on the colony for them, Trip says something stupid.
Asking favors of the Vulcans usually ends up carrying too high a price.
Oh god, I don't even know where to start. 1, how in the world did the Vulcans not know about this colony? They've been on Earth for years, helping the humans develop their warp program. How did they miss a colony ship leaving the solar system? 2, getting help from the Vulcans is too high a price? You're talking about the lives of your very first deep space colonists. These are brave pioneers, and you can't be bothered to ask for help from your closest ally? 3, Trip, you're an ass. This is why I think this episode is really weak. All these questions that come about when it's given the slightest amount of thought, and we're less than 3 minutes into the episode. Anyway, the exposition dinner scene ends on a good note. T'Pol mentions that in her brief time around humans, she's learned that they are resourceful and that Terra Nova might very well still be around. It's a nice little moment that would have meant a lot more if Archer had at any point expressed concern of finding a graveyard, but nonetheless, it's a fine little moment. The Enterprise arrives and Archer hails the colony, but there's no response. T'Pol then scans the colony and there are no human life signs, but the colony does appear to be in decent shape. There are also low levels of radiation on the surface. Trip comments that it looks like a ghost town. Well, yeah. T'Pol literally just said there were no human life signs.
How bad's the radiation?
Less than 800 millirads. A few hours of exposure shouldn't pose a risk.
Less than 800 millirads? That's less radiation than it takes to perform an X-ray of the human torso. For that matter, that's less radiation than it takes to cause a mild headache. Yeah, you guys should be fine. Archer, T'Pol, Mayweather, and Reed head to the surface to investigate. T'Pol detects no sign of weapons damage, and Mayweather says he'll go work on the communications relay, because being an ace pilot means you can fix the radio tower. T'Pol mentions that based on the decay rate of the radiation, 70 years ago the radiation would have been lethal. Since there are no bodies, T'Pol suggests that maybe they left the planet, but Archer mentions that the ship was designed to be taken apart after landing to be used for the houses. Meanwhile, Reed is out scouting when he notices someone and gives chase. Reed contacts the others and they meet up at a cave entrance that has a huge network of tunnels. Reed and Archer search the caves for a little bit and come across a room that has some natives. The natives attack and they have guns. Not phasers or space guns or anything like that, so they're probably far more effective. Archer and Reed get lost in the tunnels and call T'Pol for help. But I thought asking the Vulcans for help comes at too high a price. She guides them to the exit, but just as Archer makes it to safety, Reed gets shot in the leg.
I'm all right, sir.
Archer, you jerk! He just leaves Reed behind. Reed gets captured, and by the time Archer realizes he didn't follow him, all that's left is his flashlight. Gunfire chases Archer away, and he meets back up with Mayweather and T'Pol. One of the guys attacks Mayweather, and T'Pol stuns and then scans him. With more gunfire, they head back to the shuttle. Mayweather says that if these aliens killed the colony, they might have killed Reed as well, but T'Pol mentions...
Those weren't aliens. They're human.
Dun, dun, dun. Yep, we're doing this done-to-death sci-fi story. An advanced civilization falls and then becomes barbarians. So, they're humans. Gee, never could have guessed that with the fact that they're clearly just covered in dirt and you came here looking for a lost colony of humans. After they get back to the ship, they have a meeting to talk about the situation. They are unable to use the transporter to beam Reed out since he's too deep underground. Wait, what? Trip said that Reed is about 90 meters below the surface. You guys are in high orbit. Can't you lower the ship just a few meters to get within range? Whatever. There are 2 guards with Reed, so T'Pol and Trip suggest that they beam into a corridor that's close to Reed, clear a small blockage, and then use stun grenades to knock out the guards and get Reed. But Archer says something stupid.
I don't want to risk any more casualties. Despite how they look, they're still human. We've got to find some way to talk to them.
Sure, but after you get your crewmen safe, your team has come up with a way to get your injured man back that wouldn't cause any casualties amongst the settlers. And you tell them no? Why? They have a member of your crew!
They didn't seem too eager to talk. If I can't make first contact with other humans...
Ah-ha-ha! Well. So you're not really concerned about Reed at all. You're more worried about your own insecurities about being a terrible diplomat. That's what this is really all about, isn't it, Archer? You feel that if you can't talk with other humans, then you have no right being on the front lines of meeting new alien species. Archer, we all have failings. Nobody is perfect. It's how you learn to deal with those failings that make you a grown-up. You are the captain of this ship, and you are responsible for your crew. Wallowing in your self-doubt isn't going to help your injured crewmen, or is it inspiring your other officers. Be a freaking adult and be the captain that this crew needs right now. Anyway, Archer tells Trip and T'Pol to try to figure out what caused the radiation that they detected while he and Phlox head down to the caves. Archer and Phlox give themselves up and are taken captive and brought into the tunnels where they meet up with Reed. The leaders here tell them that they can go, just don't come back. Archer decides to talk to them instead. Lucky you guys. He points out that in order for Reed to move, he kinda needs medical treatment on his leg that kinda sorta has a bullet wound in it. So they let Phlox get to work, and while he's providing treatment on Reed, Archer gets them to talk about the past. Seems these people don't know that they're humans and believe Earth attacked them many years ago. The old bag, the wise elder, says that the humans caused the poison rain back when she was a child. After Phlox gets Reed patched up to the point where he can walk, Archer tells these people that they are not Novans, but humans. Since they blame humans for all their problems, it doesn't work out so well. Archer tries to convince them that they are humans and that if they work together, they might be able to figure out what happened to the colony on the surface and why it's irradiated. While he's flapping his jaw, Phlox scans the old woman and discovers that she's sick with lung cancer. He suggests that she could be treated on Enterprise, but the leader doesn't want to be separated from his mama, so he agrees as long as he goes as well and Reed stays behind. Archer not only agrees to these terms, he doesn't even make a counteroffer to stay behind in Reed's place so Reed can, have a bullet removed from his leg. But nope. Archer just lets Reed stay here with a hunk of metal embedded in his flesh. What a guy. Back on Enterprise, Phlox is treating the old woman while T'Pol has discovered the cause of the radiation. A large asteroid hit near the colony and mentions that its impact is what irradiated the northern hemisphere, and it's what forced the colony to retreat underground, which would have shielded them from the radiation. We cut back to Reed commenting on the guns that they have. No mention at all at how after 70 years the guns have been maintained or kept stocked with ammo and primers. This scene is to show that they've developed a culture and whatever, it's dull. Hoshi and Mayweather have looked into the old logs of the colony, and they found that the original captain thought that Earth had attacked them over their dispute over the other settlers. How? It took you guys 9 years to get there. How do you think Earth attacked you? And it was the asteroid. How did you guys not know it was an impact from the asteroid? That's technology we have now. Anyway, in the message he asks to have the Vulcans send a ship to get the children, but it wasn't able to get through all the debris in the atmosphere. Back in sickbay, Phlox has treated the old woman, but reveals another problem. He's cured her cancer, but she and her son are showing signs of radiation poisoning. Their water supply has become contaminated with the radiation, and it's starting to sicken the people. Archer talks them through the situation, but they want no part of it. These humans are liars, after all. They just want all the uninhabitable land to themselves. They think it's impossible that rocks could fall from the sky and hurt the land. Obviously, it was the people they've personally never seen, heard, or met before today that must be responsible. I just love that this guy laughs at the idea of anything falling from the sky while he's standing on a spaceship. Archer then shows the old fart a picture of her as a kid, and they start to think, yeah, maybe we are human, but there's still plenty of doubt. Archer and T'Pol talk about what to do. The people will die if they stay there, but they refuse to listen to Archer. T'Pol mentions that Trip has been working on the stun grenades, and they could beam them throughout the tunnels, knock them out, and bring them on the ship. Oh, for the love of... T'Pol, you're supposed to be the smart one. Bring them on the ship, and then do what with them? This point is so stupid, even Archer calls it out. Archer says that we need to convince them that going back to Earth is the right thing. Is everyone stupid? This is what is so frustrating about this episode. The answer is blatantly obvious, and yet nobody sees it. T'Pol rightfully points out that these people have been here on this planet, living underground, barely surviving for 3 generations. You can't just place them in a normal human society and expect them to be able to function. So, if you can't remove them to Earth, but they can't stay where they are, what could possibly be done? Oh yeah, T'Pol specifically mentioned it was the northern hemisphere that was affected by the radiation fallout. You have an entire half of a planet, you idiots! Planets are a big place. Just move the colony to where they won't get sick. Archer explains the finding to these people, but they still just want him to leave. Can't say I blame him there. The shuttle lands and there's a problem. The episode came up short on time and we need to throw together a quick bonding moment that won't get addressed at all. One of the tunnels collapses under the shuttle and they crash into one of the tunnels. After they drop, they are on solid ground. Lucky. While they're trying to get them back to their main tunnels, Archer hears cries for help. Well, with 2 strong men, this shouldn't be that big of a... Dear Lord! Well, someone's never dancing ballet again. Ignoring the problem of a tree trunk being that big while growing underground, Archer and the whiny guy try to help this poor dumb dope. The water level starts to rise, so Archer just uses his phaser to cut it loose and they save the guy. As I said, was this a bonding moment? No, he still just wants them to leave. It's the guy's mommy who tells him that they should move. Back on Enterprise, Archer, Trip, T'Pol, and Mayweather are having dinner talking about famous lost expeditions and people.
How about Amelia Earhart?
Oh, she was captured by aliens and brought to the farthest reaches of the galaxy to serve as slave labor, but was never thawed out of cryosleep and missed the human slave rebellion that killed the alien slavers. Yes, really. Mayweather is just so giddy that he got to help these people, but whatever, it's over. Let's get out of here. We have a trope rating of 2. 1 point for dumb luck survival, as these people were already feeling sick and never thought that a planet is big, maybe we should move. If the Enterprise hadn't shown up when they did, they all would have died. We also have a point for a shuttle crash. The first canonical crashing of a shuttle. Get used to that. But this one does have a unique factor in that the crash happened after the shuttle had already landed. The good. As much as I might joke, the acting on this show is normally pretty solid, and the actors are clearly professional, doing their best with this old and tired story. The bad. The advanced civilization reduced to being cavemen is one of the oldest sci-fi stories out there. The Time Machine, Planet of the Apes, and so on and so on. Nothing new was brought to this old tale. My single biggest problem with this episode is it just feels like filler. There are so many issues with every part of it, from the background with the colony, to how these people live, to how their weapons still work, and on and on and on. So, what would I have done differently? Well, I've been thinking about that a lot, and I just can't think of anything that would satisfy the Vulcan plot hole. How were the Vulcans unaware of the colony ship that left Earth while they were on Earth helping the humans' warp drive program? I have no answer for that. This is one of those episodes where the more you think about it, the more it falls apart. Computer, save file and end transmission.
Affirmative. Processing. Terminating transmission. Ending communication.